What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. It's time for our ACC projections. You know, it feels like Clemson, Florida State, those are the top two teams, but is there another team that could possibly make a run and get to the ACC championship? We'll see what the projections look like. Again, these are based off of the videos we've been doing since really the season ended, where we preview the schedules and give you a projected record for each team. We've done a video on every Power 5 team, so if you want more explanation as to why these numbers are what they are, just go back and watch those individual videos. But these are just the projections based off of that. Not my predictions. We're still a long ways away from doing official predictions, but based off of the schedules and how tough they are, and then also just how good each team is expected to be, these are the projections we have come up with. So no divisions in the ACC for the first time. Well, 2020 they didn't have divisions, but that was the COVID year, obviously. So we're going to go through here, and we start at the bottom with Virginia. They're projected to go 4-8, 2-6 in the conference. Also, a reminder that the projections were done based off of the overall record, and then I just kind of filled in the conference records based off of what made the most sense, what is the most likely scenario based off of the schedules and everything to make the wins and losses come out the same for those conference records. So Virginia at the bottom, and then Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech also missing out on bowl games, 5-7 overall, 3-5 in the conference. That would be, you know, I think Georgia Tech probably has more hope this year than Virginia Tech, but I think both teams, based off of how we did these projections, both teams kind of in that same tier. And so there you see Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. And then also at 3-5 in the conference, Wake Forest and Boston College, but they're projected to go 6-6 overall, meaning they would only lose one game in the non-conference. Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech would lose 2 games in the non-conference. I don't have the schedules in front of me. I know Georgia Tech plays Georgia, and I think they play Ole Miss this year. Was that last year? Again, I can't remember all these schedules. We looked at all of them, all these Power 5 teams. But yeah, a little bit better season for Wake Forest and Boston College. And, you know, that could possibly be different. You know, maybe they go 6-6, but they go 2-6 in the conference, and they win their non-conference. You know, it's all based off of that overall record, but this conference record just kind of fills in to what the actual standings could look like. Wake Forest and Boston College both projected to go to a bowl game. Boston College, if you missed it, they've got the easiest schedule out of anyone, not even close, and the only reason they're at 6-6 is because of that schedule. They were, as far as how I did the projection, they were put into the same tier as Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech and Virginia, but their schedule was much easier, and that's why they wound up at 6-6. And just take a look at it, or go watch the video we did on the 10 easiest schedules, and you can kind of compare them and see that Boston College just has a really easy schedule this year. So Louisville and Pitt, they're also at 6-6, but 4-4 in the conference, meaning they would lose 2 games in the non-conference. If you maybe do a little bit better in the non-conference, perhaps they could get to 7-5. Or maybe it changes that conference record, however it falls. But getting to a bowl game here for Louisville and Pitt, and finishing ahead of Wake Forest and Boston College is in the conference standings. And that tells us that Louisville and Pitt have a tougher non-conference schedule than Wake Forest and Boston College, even though Boston College, so Wake Forest was put into the same tier as Pitt and Louisville. Boston College was put into that lower tier for the projection. So that really tells us that Wake Forest has a tougher conference schedule than Louisville and Pitt. So let's go to the top 6 teams now. We've got Duke, Miami, and Syracuse. All of these teams at 4-4 in the conference, 7-5 overall. And Duke was actually calculated in a higher tier than both Miami and Syracuse. Duke was in that second tier, Miami and Syracuse in the third tier. That tells you that Duke's schedule is pretty tough. They have a tougher schedule than Miami and Syracuse. That's why the record comes out the same. So again, this is not saying that Duke, Miami, and Syracuse are all even. This is just a projection based off of their schedules. I've got Duke as a better team than Miami and Syracuse, but they have a tougher schedule, and that's why their record would come out to 7-5. And schedules play a big role in this type of season these teams have. You can have 2 really good teams. One of them has a really tough schedule, one has a really easy schedule, and there could be 2 games between them, separating them in the records at the end of the year just because of the schedule. And again, Duke has a pretty tough schedule this year compared to the other teams in the ACC. NC State and North Carolina, they wind up at 8-4 overall, 5-3 in the conference. And I was talking about the tiers, so NC State, North Carolina, and Duke, they were all put in the same tier. Again, that just shows you how tough the schedule is for Duke and NC State, North Carolina, with a little bit of an easier schedule. And those teams, just looking at how good the teams are, looking at the schedules, if there's going to be a team that sneaks into the ACC championship, not named Clemson, not named Florida State, I feel pretty confident that it's going to be NC State or North Carolina. That just works out to where I think they might have a chance if things go their way with the schedule and just how good these teams are expected to be. Miami is a team with a lot of potential. I just still don't really see them sneaking up there, though. I think NC State and North Carolina, those are your two sleeper teams. Again, if I don't know if you call them a sleeper team if they're going to be third and fourth, but a team that could possibly get there outside of Clemson and Florida State. But you see Clemson and Florida State at the top. These teams both projected to go 9-3, 6-2 in the conference. I think both of them might do better than 9-3. One of them for sure I feel like is going to at least get to 10-2, maybe even more than that. I think both teams have potential to go 11-1. But again, when you play the odds, when you do these projections, and you can go watch those videos and see how it was calculated, it does give each of these teams 3 losses. So it's very conservative, kind of like the FPI when it comes out. It's also a really conservative measure of these records. But Clemson and Florida State at the top. And if you wonder about the tiebreakers, whoever has the home field advantage gets the top spot. So Clemson gets Florida State at home, NC State gets North Carolina at home. That's why they are in the order that they're in. So that's it for the ACC. Your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.